Hello, I'm Joel Daring with the International Volleyball Hall of Fame. We are speaking one-on-one today with members of the induction class for 2016. This is Volleyball in Perspective. I'm joined by Nikola Grbic. Welcome, Nikola. You are being honored for your international playing career that spanned over 20 years and started when you were named to the Yugoslavian national team in 1991 at the age of 18. By 1995, your team established themselves as a power, winning the bronze medal at the European Championship, and the next year in Atlanta, where your team won the Olympic bronze, was your first of 4 straight Olympic Games appearances. 3 of those teams included your brother, who was inducted here into the International Volleyball Hall of Fame in 2011. Early in your international career, you also began 14 straight years of playing professionally in Italy with 8 different teams, capturing 8 different titles over that span. After being honored as best setter at the 1997 European Championships and then leading your team to a silver medal at the 1998 FIVB World Championships, you led your Serbian team into the 2000 Olympic Games as one of the favorites. Despite some early losses in pool play, your team stormed back, including a straight set victory in the semis over Italy, avenging one of those earlier losses. Your team, with you leading the way, then went on to win the gold medal with a victory over the USSR. So let's start at the beginning. How old were you when you first started playing sports, and when were you introduced to volleyball?
Well, my father was a volleyball player, so in the family we had, let's say, early start. So he brought us all the time to see his games. So the contact with the volleyball was really early. We didn't have a gym in our town, so we couldn't practice. So on the inside, indoor. It was only limited for outside. So let's say we start with the school team, and I was 10 years old. And then I start to play volleyball with the high school, and it was in between high schools. So it was a Saturday mornings to once monthly, and I remember those days even now, because it was how I got hooked. Because all these it lasted for 3 or 4 hours, but it was so packed with emotions, and it was really nice to hang out with other guys. So that was let's say the first impact for me.
I mean, getting to the national team at such a young age, how about some early coaches that had a big influence on you?
Well, my father was my first coach, so let's say that he teach me the fundamentals. And after that, it was I had a first call for the national junior team when I was 15, and after that it was, let's say, year by year it was improving. Then when I was 17, I left home to be in a professional club, and from that on, it was every year was let's say improvement with different coaches, but in the club, let's say professionally, my first coach was the coach Zoran Gajic, who was then the coach of a national team when we won the Olympics.
At about what age or what part of the early part of your career did you really believe inside you that you could have a professional career and maybe a pretty long international national team career?
Well, the first blow was when I got the call to participate at a weekend preparation for the junior national team, and it was, for me, it was insane. I couldn't believe it, and I went there, and that was something. At that time I was overwhelmed. and it was a great experience. But from then on, it wasn't like, oh, I woke up one day and it was then I realized. It was a process. It was little by little I was gaining the conscience of it's not being talented, but well, I'm good at this. I can do well. So let's say that maybe the first good step was when I was 17, when the Vojvodina called me to be with them and to be a part of the professional team.
What do you see as your strengths as a player?
I like to be prepared because my role in the team was to organize the attack of my team. So when I'm the coach now, so we are preparing how my team have to play a defense against the opponent's attack. So everything goes through the hands of the setter. So I know that all coaches were watching my distribution. So I was always, not always, but when the time was right, I would took my distribution and watch myself, as a coach would do. And then I try to change it for the game in particular. So I like to be prepared, to see myself what was I doing up to that time, and then try to be ready to try to change something. Discipline, I would say. I didn't like to do some things just to show everybody that I'm able to do it. I really like a lot that it's something that I'm saying to my setters now. Do simple things precisely, and that's the recipe for high-level volleyball for me.
Yeah, I think as a setter, if you can throw one out there and the attacker has one blocker, I mean, you've done your job, and they certainly appreciate that.
Well, that's right, but I really like that the ball is precise than for my attack to have one block, because if I'm trying to do just to get him one block, then maybe the ball will not be good. Right. So he will not be able to hit the ball hard. So I can leave it even without the block, but if he cannot spike it hard, then I prefer precise ball, even if the two-man block, than one ball which is not so good. Sure. So because the defense that it's played now, if I'm one-on-one, it's it's not 100% that the ball will go down. So,
talk to us in two ways about Vladimir. Your perspective of his game, but then playing with your brother and the dynamics of that.
Well, obviously we were not only brothers privately, but we were also in the room together. So it was also the another thing that I had to think about. Daily. So no, we understand each other, and I still have the great number one supporter. Even if he's not agreeing with me, he will tell me in my face what he thinks, and that for me is the great thing. And we had fights all the time. I mean, not all the time, but it's often in our room about what we are thinking and about the game. It's not like about what we should do, partying right, or whatever, right. But what we should do to improve our game and the team and everything. And but after the fight, we agreed to not disagree or or whatever. But in the end, it will always be okay. Let's try to do our best to improve individually and as a team. So that's the kind of relationship I have only, obviously, with him. So that's one part of the thing. The other was maybe the difficulty that everybody was watching us as, we are having our backs, you know. So I will say or do things that maybe to defend him, you know, even if he's not right. But we had a great sense of let's say being in the team, and we know that whatever we wanted, it's to improve ourselves, to improve the team, and what needs to be done that we as a team play better. So I think that a lot of guys, maybe all of them, recognize that. So we didn't have any problems. So
we'll talk in a minute about some Olympic memories, but talk about and share some thoughts on this professional career in Italy. What were some of the challenges of that? You played on a number of different teams, a lengthy amount of time there. You know, how did that impact your development? The transition back to the national team. Share some thoughts on that.
it was, let's say, when I went there, I was 20 years old, and Italian championship was the most difficult one, because you had Russian players, you had Americans, you had the Brazilians, you have, let's say, the all international stars were playing there, and the championship was really strong, and there was only 2 guys for team. Now you have 4, maybe 6 if somebody wants to be a third, you know, you can have it. So it was really tough to go there and then to remain there. So I went there, and first year was very difficult because I didn't speak Italian, and English wasn't this good. So I was watching TV, all channels was Italian, and I had to go to supermarket, you know, to ask something in Italian. So wherever I went, it was all Italian, and I didn't understand anything. So it took me 4 months to learn a language, and to try to be able to explain myself. Maybe not fluently, but just to have a conversation. And I was playing against Vladi, and we were 150 kilometers apart. And we never played together in the club, so it was. But these things, which are difficult, make me stronger, because then, you know, when you have difficulty, you go through it, and then you go out even stronger. So for me, at least, was like that, and that helped me a lot when I came back to the national team, to be able to use that knowledge or confidence to improve. So it's completely 2 different tournaments or championships, and here you play once a week, and in the national team you can play 3 days in a row. So the preparation is different, and so on and so on. But I took it as a challenge. Whatever had to be done, okay, let's try to do the best we can to from this situation. So it was good.
I was going to ask you about obstacles and difficulties. You've shared that, but what about injuries? Any particular injury along the way that really set you aside, that you had to really come back from?
I had a broken bone in my wrist when I was 18, and it wasn't cured properly. Because it was a microsurgery. Nobody liked to go there, and especially because it's my job. And we tried to avoid the operation, and it was painful. It was for a year. I was trying to play with the pain. Then I went to Italy. And had another injury of my thumb, so they made the X-ray and say, "Look, this doesn't look good. You have to go to operation to fix it." So after that year, I choose to go to have this operation, and it was 3 months until I came back to to play again. But 3 months wasn't enough for the team to wait for me. So I lost all contracts in the first division, and I chose to go to the second one just to be in Italy, to remain there. And we won the championship with the team, and we came back in the first division, and I came back to the same club that I went to the first year. So let's say from that on, it was I was changing the clubs, but it was always improvement, let's say. So I changed 8 clubs in Italy. I played there for 19 years professionally, and I had great experience. I still live in Italy now because my family is there. My kids are going to the Italian school, so I love Italy.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So I'm going to ask you about your Olympic experiences in general. Let's start there. We're going to talk about 2000 and the gold medal, but in general, preparing for Olympic Games, the excitement of it, experiences you had, what are some of your best memories?
Just to be qualified for the Olympics in 1995, for us, 1996 was something that I couldn't explain. Up until that moment, our father was captain of the national team, and he won the bronze medal at the European Championship. So we won it. We won the bronze medal in 1995. So we were equal. And my father was never to the Olympics. So that was when we qualified for the Olympics. That was the step up, you know. So we beat him, you know. So emotionally for me it was, wow, I'm better than my father. So that was the just to participate.
Sure.
And obviously for me it was okay. I'll be the part of the Olympic Games. I'll participate to the Olympic Games. So that was overwhelming. But then to win the medal, I had sensation that okay, now I can stop playing volleyball. I mean, it was so great. It was amazing. It's right now I'm in my mind. I'm thinking about it, and it's when a lot of people ask me what was your best feeling about it. It's 1996 Atlanta, because that was the moment when you win the Olympic Games or the medal at the Olympics against all odds. Nobody was like, okay, I mean they're good, but you know they cannot win anything. And we won the bronze medal against Russia, and I don't know. I couldn't explain it with the words. That was when we start. Let's say that was for me the most, the greatest result. I didn't thought I will do better than that.
Sure. No, so I was going to ask you that question, but now we'll ask a different one. So now, because I think this works, you come out of '96, you have the success. What did it take, in your opinion, what did it take for your team to win the gold in Sydney?
Well, every year we did a little improvement. The great step was to win a medal at the European Championship, because it was 20 years since the last medal at the European Championship for the national team. So it was that was the first big step. Then the enormous step was winning the medal at the Olympics. After that, we won another medal in European Championship, and we played the finals of the World Championship. So let's say we were improving year by year, but it was we never won. We were there, we were playing good, we could beat everybody, but in the end, we didn't have a gold medal. So we went to the Olympics in Sydney with more or less knowledge that we can be there, and we had a pressure, even though we were not the favorites, because that was Italy and Russia. We still had we put the pressure on ourselves, and that's why probably we lost the first 2 games. But then again, we were like, oh, let's try to play the best we can, and we'll see what will happen. So and it happened.
And the rest is history, as they say. Talk about, before we talk about your coaching for a few minutes, best players you played against. Who makes that list? Toughest opponents.
Brazil. We had the chance to win the World League in 2003, and it's made history because it was longest tiebreak in one finals. And we had 8 match balls, and we didn't make it there. And I played as a player. I had 4 finals and never won it, and 2 of them was against Brazil. So we meet them all the time in the World Championship and Olympics and so on, and we couldn't beat them. So let's say that through my career, first was Holland, then was Italy, then was Russia, but Brazil, let's say, was the toughest one, because we won against Italy, we won against Russia, we won against Holland, but never make it to win against Brazil.
So I'm wondering if you saw this coaching thing coming, because you took over the Serbian team in 2015. Yeah. Significant success already, really. Tell us about your experience so far, and maybe what you like best about coaching.
Let's say as a setter, I was organizing the attack of my team, and my role was to as a setter to give advice, to go to say, okay, let's go, let's do it. It doesn't matter. I'll give you a better one, next one, and I was developing myself to be a coach on the court already. Sure. So it was, for me, it was a normal step after I finished. So 3 or 4 years before end of my career, I was like, I will never do the coach, never. But then I had a bad experience in a club, and I'm like, look, if he can do it, I mean, I really can do this. So it was tough. It was tough. I get called. I was my last year as a professional player. I played in Russia, and we won the championship. And I was 40, and I'm like, okay, I have at least 1 year, one more. But then when I came back to Italy 3 days later, the president of the Perugia called me, and he's like, I want you to be a coach to my team. And Perugia was one of 3 teams in Italy at that time, who was the one of the teams who wanted to do something, to win something. And it was really ambitious. And in 2 days, I tried to find a great club to sign a contract, and I say, okay, I signed this, I cannot do it, but I didn't find anything, and I'm like, well, this is the next step. And next year, probably, I will not be able to have this kind of opportunity. So I'm like, okay, I'll do it. And I didn't realize it. Then when I took the job, my wife told me, well, that means that you stop playing volleyball. And I'm like, wow, yes, I'm not player anymore. So I immediately, when the news went out, everybody from Serbia started calling me saying, oh, so you end your career? And I started realizing that I will never play again professionally. So that was a blow, a little bit. But then it's the same, but completely different. Sure. I mean, when you're a player, you get to say the things that you don't like. You don't like the exercise. You don't like the gym. You don't like the lights. You don't like the shirt. You don't like whatever you cross your mind. And there are the people around you that are like, oh yeah, okay, we'll do it. Oh, so don't worry, and so on and so on. Now, as a coach, I have to listen to that. The guys who are complaining. And I have to go around it. And as a young player, a young coach, I'm like, no, you have to do it. I don't care. I mean, I've been there. So what I'm proposing, it's not it's nothing, you know, that you cannot do it. So it was there was a few tough decisions, let's say, but I'm really satisfied with my club experience that I have, and I'm a coach right now for the national team. I don't have club, and let's say that we improved since last year. We were second last year in the World League, and we won it this year. So let's say it's good.
Off to a good start. Two more questions. The first one's a quick one. Just, you know, you saw a lot of changes in the sport. You saw a lot of changes in the rules. What's looking ahead? Where's volleyball going? Anything that you look ahead, some changes you think we will see?
It's difficult to predict the rules if will be changed or not. They are saying for years, not lately, that they want, because attack is really, really good, that maybe they will put up the net a little bit more, or that some other things that when you are practicing every day, you are practicing on these rules that you have. So when anyone try to change that, it's something, it's not comfortable, right, because you have to change to adapt and so on and so on. So I can say that from court, it's not nice to change the rules. I think that the great thing that they did lately is the challenge. So there are a lot of times in my career that I lost games that much more lost than won the games because the referee made a bad call. So now that's, at least that was one thing that you can be a little bit more comfortable and say, okay, he made a mistake, but we overrule. So what I really think is that the one thing, the category that can be improved is psychology. I mean, to work with the guys, to be prepared for the pressure, for the, you know, when you have to arrive 23 on the very important match, how to handle that situation. You can practice 6 hours a day and be perfect physically, but then to make, you know, the mistake if you are not prepared mentally. And now you can see so many games where one ball is decisive and one ball can change the course of the match or choose the winner. So I think really that in that category, not everybody is prepared, and I think that that's the thing that a lot of coaches will go. That's my goal.
Something tells me that's something we'll see with your team as we watch you continue to coach. So now we have a chance with both of you together, the first brothers in the International Volleyball Hall of Fame, and from what we think, that maybe two brothers in the Baseball Hall of Fame, but all the Hall of Fames around the world. This is quite a significant honor. So share some thoughts on how you feel about that.
I'm not going to be an emotional now, but I'm really sorry that my father passed away in 2008, and he cannot be here because really I think he's the person who is responsible for me and for us being as a person like we are, and then as a volleyball player. So that's what the first thing it came in my mind when I heard about being inducted, and how would he think, and I think he would be proud of us.
Any other thoughts, Vladi?
Well, you know, I as my brother said before, I went to Google just to see if there is any other brothers couples in a sport. Probably it's going to be Brian brothers in tennis, if they have Hall of Fame. And only Olsen brothers, I think, is baseball, but baseball generally is not so involved as volleyball internationally. There are some countries playing baseball, and I think it's very good for the volleyball everywhere to have, let's say, this first ever couple. And I cannot say anything, but I think he mentioned the most important thing. First of all, volleyball is a family sport that brings people together, getting over all kind of differences between people, social, national, racist, religious, whatever. And there is no bigger significance than this. So I think this is even bigger. Then I'm very happy for him. I didn't do anything. Okay, I am one of the voters, but I think he completely
You voted against. Come on,
Yeah.
I know that.
No, I didn't. And I'm very happy for him.
Yeah.
I mean,
And you're thrilled to have you back with us, but I have one final question. As you have a chance to watch this honor being bestowed this weekend, what do you think is the key for why your brother is sitting here being inducted?
when I speak with the people in volleyball, mostly they say, that is the Hall of Fame in US, so kind of you cannot control, etc. But what we have to realize is that the athletes, inductees, are voting. So I think there is no more credible and more qualified jury who's choosing. That's number one. And two, I think that it's not just about how good performer you are or how good you are in volleyball, playing volleyball. It's about the message and the image you are sending to all the other people. Because, as I said 5 years ago, I watched the heroes before me play volleyball, and I was inspired by their passion and their knowledge. Sometimes this player wasn't the best in the world, but the energy they transferred and they performed was something they touched us to improve ourselves. And I think even in a life, this is the most important thing, because at our time or now, we'll have sent this message to the kids who will continue what we have started and those before us. And this chain is the most important thing and responsibility, that when you are inside of the field, you are sending very important message through volleyball or something else. So it's not just volleyball, it's about the message to those who are watching you. So it's much bigger.
Well, we want to congratulate you both, and we know it's an honor for the entire Grbic family, and we're just really glad that we could be able to capture this historic moment.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So last question,
Yeah.
this honor,
Yeah.
how do you feel being inducted into the International Volleyball Hall of Fame?
To be honest, I was never thinking about, 1 year, once I will be there, and so on and so on. When Vladi was elected, I was so proud for him, and I really think he deserved it, and he was the right choice for the first Serbian player to be inducted in. To be honest, I learned from him. He sent me a message, you'll be inducted in the Hall of Fame. I'm like, come on, man, I have to prepare Iran. Leave me alone. And because I didn't believe it, I didn't saw it anywhere. So, and he like, okay, whatever. And then I didn't believe him at first. And then I received the email from my federation, first Doug Bill, and then my federation, with the congratulations and everything, you'll be inducted. And as I said, we were preparing Iran because we had to play against Iran. And I'm like, oh guys, there was 4 of us inside the small room watching video. I'm like, oh guys, I just been inducted in Hall of Fame. And I'm like, wow, wow, congratulations. And that was the first time I realized, wait a minute, I mean, this is something big. And I tried to put myself, in that, and I'm like, okay, that's 5 minutes of fame, perfect. Okay, but we have Iran now. Let's think about this. Lately, when I'm speaking with my friends and I'm saying, oh, I go to US, or oh, why are you going there? It's not like I'm, I'm going to be in the Hall of Fame, so I'm going there. No, I don't like that. But when it comes out, okay, why are you going there? I'm like, oh, well, I go to Hall of Fame. And the reaction of the common people, not the people inside the volleyball, but the friends or the guys who are just, doesn't have anything with the sport, but they know me, the reaction of common people to me is impressive. I'm like, whoa, I mean, it seems like it's much more important to you than me, because I'm not like going to the corridors and I'm saying, oh, I mean, I'm honored, I really am. And probably as when we won the Olympics in Sydney, I wasn't able to understand it fully at that moment. Probably on my way back home, I'll be more aware of what is happening now. So I'm enjoying it. That's what I want to say.
We're enjoying having you, and congratulations once again.
Okay, thank you.
We've been speaking with International Volleyball Hall of Fame Class of 2016 honoree Nikola Grbic. This is Volleyball in Perspective, and I'm your host, Joel Daring. Thank you for watching.